It's always great when a Hollywood actress stops by the Morning Buzz, and we can show you on Comcast C2. As we all know, Army Wives has been in production here for the last 4 years, and the annual Governor Sanford veto override party continues this week in Columbia. And they haven't overridden as many as they have in the past because of the financial straits of the state of South Carolina. But one of them that's going to come up tomorrow in the South Carolina State Senate that was overridden by the South Carolina House last week by a vote of 104-7 is an important one to our next guest and to people who are looking for more free publicity for the state of South Carolina. As I turn the Comcast C2 cameras on the lovely Wendy Davis, who plays Lieutenant Colonel Joan Burton on Army Wives. How you doing, Wendy?
Good.
Thanks for being here.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Richard. Appreciate it.
No, I mean it's thrilling to get you here, and you know, look, I've got a couple of major Army Wives fans, John Quincy and Fred Story, are on the other side of the glass for your protection.
Yes.
For your protection. But you know, look, Army Wives has been a big hit for Lifetime television and for the local community. And you and I were just talking off the air about our kids, how you got a kid in a local school here. I mean, have you made Charleston your home now?
Absolutely. I'm a resident.
Now, what did you know about Charleston before Army Wives?
You know, I really didn't. I knew that South Carolina was next to North Carolina. I didn't really know much about Charleston. And when we, came to shoot the pilot episode of Charleston, I was just in awe of the beauty and the charm of this city and the state.
It's a great place. I mean,
absolutely.
We are totally biased when it comes to Charleston. We think it's one of the great cities in America, if not the world, and we love living here, and we are fortunate to live here. And now, a number of your cast members or crew, they call Charleston home, don't? I mean, do you know how many we're talking about have actually made roots here in Charleston?
Absolutely. I know that 4 of the actors are now residents. They've all purchased homes, and this is their primary residence. And I believe total, we've got about 16 total who have just fallen in love with South Carolina and just decided to, make it home.
I've seen stories on Catherine Bell and People magazine and seen her talking about how much she loves Charleston, and it's an easy place to love. And,
absolutely.
And it's also an easy place to make look beautiful on television. Charleston is a beautiful place. I give a perfect example, because I know the state film and television incentive program is now being jeopardized by the governor, and that's why you're here. But last night I was flipping around television, and I came across Cold Mountain. You Are My Ain True Love. And that's a good movie, and a lot of it was filmed here in the Low Country.
That's
in
right.
fact, they showed some scenes set at the Cistern down at the College of Charleston and set out at Boone Hall Plantation, or maybe that was Middleton Plantation, and it looks so great. South Carolina has so much going for it, and when you watch an episode of Army Wives, you see so much of Charleston as your backdrop. It's a beautiful backdrop.
Absolutely, and we do call it free advertisement for South Carolina because, it's not just about Army Wives. This is really about film and television in general. People love to go and visit places that they see in movies and on television shows. And South Carolina is so easy to make look beautiful. Actually, it's the reverse. South Carolina makes us look really good, and that's why people are drawn to this state. If the veto isn't vetoed, if the governor's veto is upheld, or shall I say, if the
veto is sustained and not overridden.
Yeah, if it's not overridden.
Are we saying goodbye to Army Wives? Did that happen?
We're saying goodbye to Army Wives. There are other states that offer fabulous tax incentives. And, before we came to South Carolina, we looked at all of these different states, and we chose South Carolina and Charleston because of its natural beauty.
Well, with beautiful ladies like you and Sally Pressman and Bridget and Kim Delaney and Catherine Bell, y'all don't need much help to look beautiful, even though Charleston can even make you look more beautiful. But going back over the history of film in South Carolina, going back to the days of North-South, or when my buddy Devin Grant got to carry Halle Berry up a flight of steps and when they filmed Queen here.
Absolutely.
And then Forrest Gump, and there's something to talk about. And even Dennis Hopper filming the movie Chasers here in the Low Country. Die Hard 3. I mean, there's been a lot of
Notebook.
Exactly. There's been a lot of great movies and television shows filmed here. But in 2006, when Army Wives began production here, one of the main reasons was the tax incentives that were being out there for the industry to say, come here and do more work in the Palmetto State.
Absolutely. As I said, there were several states that were offering incredible tax incentives. And of those states, we looked at, which state provided the best look for the show. And South Carolina overwhelmingly won. But now we're in a bit of a, bait and switch situation.
Yeah, how much dependent is the production on these tax incentives from the standpoint that I know that over the last few years there's been rumblings about the possibility of Army wives going away, which stimulates the economy in a number of ways here in the Low Country, but this has been an ongoing thing really the last couple of years, hasn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And, there is a misconception. People think that that Hollywood is, frivolous with money. We hear about these big, huge budgets, but that is not the case with our show and many shows. These tax incentives make a huge difference to the bottom line. And, if another state is offering a tax incentive, well, they're going to consider that state. South Carolina will be taking themselves out of the film and television business. And again, there are so many positives to inviting film and television shows here. Army Wives specifically has worked with over 400 vendors. I think it's like 469 local vendors. There have been businesses that have been started around the film and television business here. We've paid out over $19 million in salaries and wages. In total, since 2006, Army Wives has contributed over $120 million directly to the local economy. So the tax incentives are worth it, and again, we really don't look at how much this free advertising of South Carolina, how many people come here because they actually saw South Carolina on a television show or on a movie, and they said, hey, wow, look at how beautiful that place is. Let's go visit.
I can remember just even like a scene with Jeff Bridges in the movie White Squall, part of that filmed at the Cistern downtown. And we have Wendy Davis in the studio from the cast of Army Wives. She plays Lieutenant Colonel Joan Burton, and she's here because tomorrow the state Senate has a chance to override one of the governor's vetoes. And as I've said many times over the years, I understand the governor's frugality. I understand his chinsiness, if you will. But in this case, this is money that when given to TV and film production crews, is paid back, exponentially more. I looked at some of these statistics, and you mentioned $120 million of direct production cost to the local economy. During season 4 alone, 355 employees, over 1,000 extras in South Carolina were paid over $19 million in wages and salaries. And the fact that 4 of the lead actors, 11 crew members, have chosen to make South Carolina the new permanent home. And you hired 469 South Carolina vendors, contributing $7.5 million to their gross revenue. New businesses created, as you said, as a result, the ancillary parts of the business, the lighting company, transportation company, wardrobe supplier. So when you look at all this, what's the talk on the set amongst the cast and the crew about what would happen? How much do they dread the possibility that this veto is sustained and that they may see something they love come to an end, at least in Charleston?
Absolutely. And listen, many of the crew members, they have moved their families here to South Carolina. So, they may not have purchased homes, but they are living and spending here in South Carolina. And so...
And you're someone who fits that category. You made a home.
I have purchased a home. I have a daughter who is attending a fabulous public school here, and I love South Carolina and want to continue to support South Carolina with our presence.
We